Guys, we have some energy coming in today that is setting us up, building some tension, leading us into our full moon in Leo that we are going to be having tomorrow. We have some more very faded alignments going on in the sky today. There could be a bit of some tension or feelings of something blocking our path forward today, but possibly some very unexpected resolutions to that as well. So let's jump into the report, talk about all the energy we have ongoing today, building to our Leo full moon tomorrow. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook for the day. Definitely some shifting energy today in the astrology. We have some tension in the chart today as well as we build into this big full moon that's coming at us tomorrow. This will be a full moon in Leo, as I said. Today we have the moon in Leo building to its point of fullness, which will happen around noon Eastern tomorrow, coming into, first of all, a square with Uranus and Taurus, and then an opposition with Saturn in Aquarius. So today is a day where we could definitely be having some more of those shocks, surprises, expect the unexpected type of vibes going on. And not only that, today we also have the sun moving to 28 degrees of Aquarius, which means that the sun is setting up a T-square exact by degree to both the north and the south nodes of the moon in Taurus and Scorpio. We got fixed signs going on today, big time, with the moon in Leo especially as well. So lots of fixed energy today that is up for some type of rectification, some type of breakthrough happening. There may be just like this feeling or this sense today generally of something standing in the way of or opposing or blocking, restricting in some type of a way our desire to pursue our passions and our personal, authentic, creative self-expression in one way or another. We have the moon in Leo today. When we have a moon in Leo, this is our emotions, this is our internal environment, this is how we're feeling inside, really aligning with a desire to experience joy and passion and creative self-expression and like true heart-based love. And we have the moon forming the opposition to Saturn in Aquarius. And so Saturn rules restrictions and blockages and obstructions and limitations. And since this is an opposition, we could feel like there is just something opposing our ability to engage in this heart-based expression today, or, especially with Venus and Mars still in a conjunction, pursuing our romantic passions, our romantic desires, or just the desire to like align with and express this very heart-based emotional feeling that we have going on today and the passions associated with it. And again, this is also a lot about creative self-expression and wanting to be able to pursue the path of our heart, and maybe feeling like there is just something blocking us, something standing in the way a little bit today that is bringing up some type of tension or conflict going on within us, especially considering this is a moon-Saturn opposition. But we also have that moon also forming the square to Uranus. And so and Uranus brings shocks and surprises and breakthroughs, and it's a square. So this is tension and conflict, but it's for the purpose of breakthrough and resolution into some higher evolution of whatever the circumstance is. And so because the moon in Leo is forming both the square to Uranus and the opposition to Saturn today, there could actually be some kind of spontaneous or unexpected change or breakthrough that liberates us from this more oppressive energy, this more heavy, whatever is maybe blocking or restricting our ability to engage in this freedom of self-expression, passion, whatever that Leo moon is inspiring us to want to align with and go after based on what's going on with us and the true nature of our heart. This Uranus aspect that we have alongside of it today could in some way be causing some type of upheaval that actually liberates us from that circumstance or something. This could also represent sudden events, lifting restrictions or blockages in some way, either like on a macrocosm level or on a microcosm in our own personal life. Normally with the moon in the opposition to Saturn, this can just be like more heavy, oppressive energy and emotions and maybe feeling a little more down, or like we can't move forward, or something is blocking that internal us from being able to align with that internal joy and self-expression. But because Uranus is also in the square, and Uranus wants to fix things and rectify things and free us to align with our authentic truth, this could bring some type of unexpected events into the mix today that actually assist us in that process, even if it's not necessarily in a way that is like the most fun or the most comfortable, because that's also an aspect of how Uranus energy operates. And aside from that, what we have going on with the moon and Saturn and Uranus today, we are also sort of at like a crossroads energetically via the planetary placements that we have going on in the sky, sort of between the past and the future. And this is like crossroad between the past and the future just being indicated. And this is because we have the sun coming to 28 degrees of Aquarius today. 28 degrees of Aquarius forms an exact square to both the north node in Taurus and the south node in Scorpio. So we have a T-square going on, as the north and the south node are always in exact opposition to each other. And we have the sun in Aquarius at the exact degree that is squaring both of them. So we have this T-square that is setting up in the sky today between the sun, our, this like our spirit, what we need to grow, what we need to thrive in this reality, and the north and the south node of the moon. The north node rules the future, destiny, the path ahead, our next phase of growth, the next chapter in the lesson plan of our evolution, where the universal blueprint is pulling us at this point in time in alignment with our personal soul evolution, growth, and expansion. The south node of the moon represents what we've already learned, what we've already experienced, what we're very comfortable with, and what if we continue to operate out of that energy is actually hindering our ability to grow, evolve, develop, and expand going forward. It's what we are very good at, a lot of times comfortable with, but we need to release, step away from, and let go so that we can open ourselves up to this new phase of growth and experience and expression that the north node is trying to align us with. And with the north node in Taurus right now, and the south node in Scorpio, and the sun in the sign of Aquarius, this sign that is representing and emblematic of the actual age that we are transitioning into right now, the age of Aquarius, what this alignment that is going on today, it's really a pretty big deal. And what it's telling me is that we are in energy right now that is at that crossroads. We are breaking free from toxic emotions, toxic subconscious programming, toxic like conditioning of the past. That is what we have become very comfortable in operating in, and that is what we need to release and move on from, move away from right now, so that we can actually begin this new phase of growth that has a lot to do with tapping into our own authentic creative potential and using that to build our experiences and our reality going forward. And considering it's the sun in Aquarius that is making this aspect, that is making this square to the node stay, this is all about bridging us into this new Aquarius energy, these new Aquarian frequencies, and that authenticity, that freedom to stand and to live in that authenticity and to tap that authentic creative potential and to build something individually, uniquely, that is our own, but that is also of service to the greater good, the greater whole. And what we receive back as a reflection of that is this much enhanced sense of abundance and fulfillment, because we are contributing out of a place of our authentic truth. We are activating our destiny. We are rising into our true potential. We are coming to a place of self-mastery, and we are essentially going down a path of creating our own version of heaven on earth with God and universe through rising into our true potential and tapping all of that we have within us. But the first step in that is releasing and letting go of these more negative, toxic patterning, conditioning, feeling like programming of the past that we've become comfortable in terms of operating under until this point. This is definitely up for rectification right now. So that is sort of like generally from the overall like 5D higher perspective, what this aspect is doing. We are crossing this bridge right now. We are at this crossroads between the past and the future, and this energy coming in today with the sun in the square to the north and south node, while we also have the moon opposing Saturn in the square to Uranus, is really trying to break us free from, honestly, like a lot of our like self-imposed limitations, so that we can come into alignment with that true authentic value and potential within us, release these things that we have been surrendering our power to in the past, and really begin to tap our potential moving forward in alignment with the cosmic plan and the transition of ages into the age of Aquarius right now, because that is really the trajectory. That is where we're going. That is what universe wants for us at this point in time. And that is why these aspects are coming into effect, and the things transpiring right now may seem so drastic in a lot of cases, circumstances, and situations. So we have the sun today, as I said, forming that T-square. Conflicts and tensions arising now are to move us away from one thing, move us towards something else that is in a drastically more authentically aligned vibration to what we are becoming and what we are growing into now. This energy is helping us to align our frequencies, as I said, to these incoming Aquarius energies, and to release these toxic emotions, toxic subconscious programming, toxic like mental, emotional, psychic conditioning from the past, especially in regards to how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others. Don't forget, you guys, if you've been following my work, you know that like relationships are the business right now. Everything in the sky is really pointing to these relationship themes. And it's not just relationships with other people. It's our relationship to ourselves. It's our relationship to God and the divine. It's our relationship to our own mind and to our own heart. And then, of course, as a reflection of that, relationships with other people. And meanwhile, we are being asked, aside from all of this, the position of the North Node right now, that degree, 28 degrees of Taurus, where the North Node is currently, the Sabian symbol of that degree is a woman pursued by mature romance. And that North Node, that's related to the destiny. That is related to the path forward. That is related to this phase of growth, the lesson plan that we are on right now. And it is really asking us to recognize the truth of our own value, what like a refined sense of relationship to our own inner value, our own self-worth, and what we will and we won't accept in relationships anymore. And this newly defined sense of how we want to relate to others and what we expect our relationships to look like externally as a result of this new relationship that we are cultivating and that we have with ourselves going on internally. And that is what is leading us to this position to be able to tap into this authentic creative potential and go through this process of building this new reality for ourselves, with the North Node in Taurus really talking about that. So, and that, I mean, the North Node is going to be in Taurus over the course of the next year and a half or so. So this is an ongoing process that we are really just getting started with now, but we are definitely getting some galactic nudges that are pushing us in the direction of really getting this ball rolling in this new direction based on this cultivating of authentic abilities essentially within us, and releasing the things that we've been surrendering our power to that have stopped us from actually going through the process of doing that. The moon in square to Uranus today and in that opposition to Saturn is helping in this process as well, breaking us free from any of these self-imposed limitations or limitations that we are like pitted up against at this point in time. So there is so much energy right now that is having to do with relationships, like I said, across the board. We are in this 222 month of this 222 year. We have Venus and Mars conjunct in the sky, like they are moving together. The cosmic lovers, we have the North Node in Taurus ruled by Venus. Like there is so much emphasis going on right now on relationships. And again, as I mentioned, this is not just, love, romantic relationships. This is partnerships. This is friendships. This is like divine connections coming in. This is our own relationship to the divine. And this is most importantly importantly, our relationship to ourselves, because that at the end of the day lays the groundwork, is the foundation of the relationship dynamics that we are going to be attracting into our lives. We are aligning with and attracting the reflection of who we are growing into and becoming at this point in time. Soulmate energy, these divine unions, these divine connections, these synchronistic relationships coming into existence in this energy, while simultaneously the old ones and the old commitments that we may have put ourselves in, built for ourselves, are realizing that this is just not aligned with us anymore, and it's not giving us that fulfillment. And these aspects are crumbling while these new energies are, coming in, and we are beginning to attract new relationships that are more in that authentic alignment with us. We also have to remember that manifestation energy is very, very, very strong and powerful right now. Really pretty much everything right now. This creative energy, this manifestation potential, so powerful. And we really, really need to be aware of that in terms of what we're thinking about, what we're imagining, what we're aligning like our feelings with, what we're desiring, because we really have a very strong potential right now to physically create and manifest through where we are putting our focus, our emotion, our imagination, and our intention, especially with Venus and Mars conjunct in Capricorn, birthing something new, the ultimate in creative potential in this very tangible physical earth sign. Really strong ability to ground creative ideas, intention, and imaginative processes, emotions, passions into reality right now for sure. We also have Mercury today, you guys, moving into Aquarius. Mercury is leaving Capricorn, moving back into Aquarius, heading back into that square with Uranus where he initially went retrograde a few weeks ago. And this is also telling us that now it's really time to start aligning our mind with the visions of the future and to speak our truth, to stand in our authentic truth and not really be afraid to say what's on our mind and to speak our truth about who we authentically are, what we think. Mercury was retrograde in the conjunction to Pluto, what we've figured out, what we've discovered, what we've learned. There could definitely be some really big perspective shifts that have gone on, that now that we have Mercury in Aquarius, we are really sort of becoming and aligning with and rising into and merging our mind more so with, and it is going to be driving us to speak our authentic truth a lot more while we have Mercury in the sign of Aquarius. So in the midst of whatever tension and conflicts or blockages that may be arising for us today, that we may have to overcome today, because that really is what all these squares are about. We have Moon square Uranus, Moon opposite Saturn, the Sun in the T-square with the nodes. There's a lot of conflict, a lot of tension that could perhaps be building today as we move into this full moon tomorrow, the opposition of the Sun and the Moon, this shining the full light on everything and showing us what we need to release and let go of, while we have the Sun aspecting the South Node, also talking about this time of release, moving on and letting go from things. Universe is really providing some guidance for us today via the Sabian symbols, also for what we should keep in mind. Now, I didn't say earlier, but for those of you who are unaware of what the Sabian symbols are, what they are is a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. Whenever we have a planet at a specific point, discharging an aspect, discharging a degree, making an aspect, we can look to the Sabian symbol, and it really just gives us more clarity about what this planet is truly doing, what this aspect is doing. We can read the aspect, it tells us we can interpret the energy, but when we look at the Sabian symbol, it just can give us a much greater idea, just an extra layer of clarity in terms of what we might actually expect to see unfolding under these energetics, and how this plays into this constantly and perpetually unfolding cosmic blueprint that is always carrying us through time and space. So I always look at the Sabians because they just give us more information in terms of astrological interpretation. So let's talk about Sabians for today. First of all, we have the Sun at 28 degrees of Aquarius today. That Sabian symbol is a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for winter. So in the context especially of the Sun making this square from the North and the South node today, this is telling me that it's really time to start cultivating and harvesting these inner resources that can carry us forward into the future. Aquarius, the sign ruling the future. And that allow us to practice the sense of self-reliance and self-reliance, resourcefulness, being able to just, I guess, self-reliance. That is really going to be a very beneficial tool for us moving forward into this new energy, especially with the North Node in Taurus over the next year and a half and the South Node in Scorpio. Things could definitely get a little bit bumpy, and universe right now, especially today, with this being the degree of the sun squaring the North and the South Node, cultivating our resources, preparing a little bit, just making sure that we sort of have all of our ducks in a row and that we have something inside of us that we can tap into to provide some type of resource or value or stability for ourselves going forward, being spoken about by the position of the sun today. We have the earth at 28 degrees of Leo today. Many little birds on the limb of a large tree. So we have a tree being felled and sawed, and then we have many little birds on the limb of a large tree. Now, all of these little birds, this to me is symbolizing like these new thoughts, what we've learned, this mental transformation, this new perspective that we've gained and that we are viewing reality through at this point of time, really maybe being spoken about and observed and communicated and discussed today. Observation, maybe a theme of this, bird's eye view. Also, though, being ready to take flight at basically like any minute if our foundation, for some reason, our old foundations, our foundation from the past, begin to crumble. It's interesting. The tree being felled and sawed for use in winter, and then the large tree with the many small birds. It's almost like if that tree for some reason needs to be felled and sawed for use in winter, we need to be able to take flight and fly away and be prepared to do what we need to do despite the lack of our old foundation. Tap those inner resources and that new knowledge, these new ideas that we've gained. We have Mercury, like I said, 1 degree of Aquarius today, an old Adobe mission. To me, this is talking about, again, these new thoughts, this new perspective, this new way of thinking and viewing our circumstances or reality, the things that we figured out at this point in time, these ideas now standing the test of time, really laying sort of like a foundation for us that's really going to carry us far into the future and be like a reliable and stable base that, we can come back to and rely on, and is just standing there as like a testament of this mental shift that we have gone through and this conscious awakening that we may have received at this point in time. It's like the thought process, the ideas, the understandings that we are gaining and that we have right now are actually what is going to carry us quite far into the future. We have we have Venus and Mars today together in the sky. 17 degrees of Capricorn, a girl surreptitiously bathing in the nude. This is telling me, especially in regards to relationship dynamics, our creative pursuits, our passions, our desires, what we're being called to follow in terms of our heart right now, that we are really standing in our naked truth, no longer hiding our passions, our desires, and what we love, what we want to create. Authentic truth coming through in relating on that heart-based level with both of the lovers at this degree, the girl surreptitiously bathing in the nude. And there's an aspect of like purification and cleansing to this as well. Like it's liberating and it's freeing, and we're finally standing there in our naked truth, but we are attracting others that are a reflection of that. So it's fine. It's sort of the energy that I'm picking up from this Venus-Mars relationship dynamic energy that we have present today. Speaking of being in the nude, the naked truth, we have Saturn in the opposition to the moon today at 18 degrees of Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is a man's secret motives are being publicly unmasked. So again, seeing the truth, taking off the mask, letting your light shine, or whatever, however it works out. This could also be maybe what is causing some of this emotional conflict or tension going on today. Something that we are seeing the truth about, the mask coming off of some situation in some type of a way, maybe causing some type of emotional conflict or tension or opposition going on. We do have the moon in square to Uranus as well. Some type of shock or surprise in terms of things being exposed could also be perhaps contributing to some emotional upsets that we have going on today. Now let's talk about the North and the South Node. in the T-square with the sun today. The North Node at 28 degrees of Taurus, a woman pursued by mature romance. And the South Node at 28 degrees of Scorpio, the king of the fairy approaching his domain, which I usually really love this degree, but I feel like with it being at the South Node, it is sort of having a little bit of different connotation than I would normally interpret it as. But with the North Node at this degree, and also remember, the North Node right now, it's funny because the North Node is in Taurus, ruled by Venus, and the South Node is in Scorpio, ruled by Mars. And Venus and Mars are both in the exact same place together in the sky right now. So it's really talking about whatever the things that we need to release right now and the things that we are coming to terms with and moving into right now is really what is bringing these divine connections, these divine unions, these soul-based relationships and connections that are coming in. But the North Node at 28 degrees of Taurus, we also have to talk with the North Node at this degree about how Venus just went retrograde in Capricorn, the sign of maturity, the sign of refining things. And that was really about reassessing our values across the board, our perception and our relationship to our own internal value, our own self-worth, and as a result of that, what we want in love, what we desire in relationships, what we expect our romantic relationships, our partnerships, our friendship dynamics to look like, what we will and won't accept anymore. And it's all, again, a reflection of this refined sense of internal value and this greater relationship that we've been cultivating with ourselves as we've gone through this process. And then we have the North Node at this degree, literally talking about the exact process of Venus retrograde in Capricorn, a woman pursued by mature romance. Again, talking about this romance, these love vibes, these connections, these soulmates coming in. And it's this mature romance based on an authentic alignment, liberated to be one's authentic self in relating to others. And this is talking about that new self-love, respect, and value that we have for ourselves and that we are feeling right now is the tree that we are sawing, essentially, is the resource that we are cultivating. Our most valuable resource, also represented by the sign of Taurus, is this newly acquired, matured understanding of our own value, our own relationship to ourselves, and what we expect as a reflection of that moving forward in our experiences. This is this resource that we are being asked to cultivate right now and moving forward with the Sun in Aquarius squaring the North Node at this degree. And we are liberating ourselves from the need to be led or to be ruled over going forward. The king of the fairy approaching his domain as a South Node degree. This to me is saying that we no longer need to look to a king or a ruler or an emperor or a leader. We no longer need to surrender our power to someone we consider as like having more power than us as a result of any sense of lack of value, of lack of self-worth, of lack of self-love, of internal emptiness any longer. So I feel like this is saying, this value that we are cultivating inside of us is this tremendous resource that we need to start tapping into so that we can be liberated from needing to surrender our power to external anything going forward at this point in time. We are taking our power back because we see the value within us and we understand the resource that is and the power that gives us to power our own progress going forward. It's like we're really surrendering our need to surrender our power with this square that we have going on because we're realizing that we actually have it within us. We've actually always had it within us. And it's really just a matter of us cultivating that resource, tapping into that. And we are coming to this more self-empowered state with this energy that we have going on to create Mars and Venus together in Capricorn, to physically create something that can be very rewarding going forward. So a lot of faded energy that we have going on today when we have the North and the South Node in effect, especially by the Sun and the square. This is definitely destiny and karma that are being activated. Adjustments are being made today as we prepare for this full moon energy coming in tomorrow that will be all about a release from this toxicity of the past and a rebirth in alignment with the authentic truth of our heart. That is really what this energy coming with this full moon tomorrow is very, very likely to represent, with the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo in the T-square. It's going to be in a 1 degree of T-square to the north and the south node. So this energy that we have today, again, is going to be very present, past and future, destiny and karma, you know, release and moving on based on the authentic truth, the sun in Aquarius, of the passions and the desires and the joy of our personal creative self-expression. And that is really truly in our heart. Moon in Leo. So that's what we got going on for the astrology today, you guys. Now I'm going to jump in, talk about the tarot cards that came out for a second, shuffling the deck this morning, asking God, Spirit, Universe to clarify the energy of the collective in like symbolic terms. Where are we at right now? It was quite an interesting message, the way that these cards came out today. And this really, to me, is talking about this inner spiritual battle and alchemization process that we are undergoing right now collectively. Now, do not be alarmed, okay? The first card that came out, we have the Devil, and this is really just representing the things that we are bound to, the toxic belief systems, the toxic subconscious programming and mental conditioning, where we surrender our power when we don't need to because of any sense of lack that we have going on within ourselves, where we allow ourselves to be overpowered and over-dominated and bound to something that is keeping us out of the authentic truth of our value. So we had the Devil card come out first. And then the next card that came out was the Tower in reverse. The Tower in reverse, this has a lot to do with big personal transformation and upheaval. When the Tower is upright, this is a lot of times talking about things like outside of our control, like external circumstances leading to big upheavals and changes. But when it's in reverse, this is a much more internalized process. And then the next card that came out was the Hierophant, which is like the holy man or the Pope. So we have the Devil, the Tower reversed, and then the Hierophant. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Page of Pentacles, talking about endless opportunities, endless potential to move forward and to grow something that is really solid, stable, and full of abundance. And so what this energy, what these cards are telling me really right now is that as we are moving into this full moon tomorrow, as we are in this rectification period, and as we are going through these inner transformations and this inner alchemization and stuff like that really is what is happening. We are in this energy transmuting these lower toxic drives and like things that we've been attached to, programming within us. There are radical shifts happening on a frequency-based level within us right now that are actually bringing us into a much greater alignment with a higher power, with our higher truth, with our ability, like essentially to transcend these circumstances and to align with Spirit and God and the path forward for us, which is leading to these new opportunities for abundance. So I wrote, an internal shift is happening that is transmuting inner darkness and toxic energy into that which is in a higher spiritual alignment, the holy man, leading to unlimited potential and opportunities to manifest abundance. So that is really, I feel like, what this T-square in the sky is indicating for us today. We also do have the moon in the square to Uranus. That is, you know, the Tower card a lot of times speaking about Uranus, the way that I see it. So very interesting, but it is ultimately freeing us and liberating us. Let's grab a synchronicity card really quick. I got another couple seconds. Let's see which one wants to come out. Here it is. It says, mind and spirit must agree, and thou shalt put them in one basket, Exodus 29:3. Put your heart and your subconscious mind together. What you think and pray and believe must all agree and synchronize. Your intellectual and subconscious minds, as well as your heart, must unite. You must have joy and enthusiasm for your projects. Then you will experience health, happiness, abundance, and security. You must feel in your heart and your subconscious what you know in your conscious mind to be true. Merely verbalizing without the feeling and knowing means nothing. Beautiful message for today with the energy that we